course, this weekend is the next major Marvel movie release. That's Doctor Strange and the
This is our
Multiverse
Marvel
of
chat because we got a
Madness.
couple Marvel things to talk about.
We
Yeah.
do. We do have a couple
Oh,
Marvel
yeah.
things.
Good
But
week.
let's get some. I mean, Doctor Strange it's a huge moment. It's one of the first times, other than Spider-Man, that we're finally getting a continuation of one of the characters from Endgame,
Solo.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's see what's going on with. I mean, outside of the TV shows, of course, this is the one of the biggest theater experiences for this, and so I'm excited to watch it whenever I get a chance to go see it. I know that Kyle and Jeff have both seen it. Dan, are you planning on seeing it too?
Yeah, I'll see it. I'll see it soon. I just wanted to give it a little bit of breathing room. So
That's fair. What do you guys think of it? Of course, if you're listening or watching this, we'll keep it spoiler free. Although we might try to do a spoiler chat at some point. But what do you guys?
I mean,
what do
we're
you guys
gonna
think?
have to. There's. Oh my god.
There's so much.
Spoilers. Yeah.
It's just like, without spoiling, it's just like Spider-Man No Way Home, where it's like talking about this movie in any kind of capacity would
Sure.
be problematic
Got
to people's
Yeah.
experiences. It's definitely a Doctor Strange movie. So if you like the first movie, and you like the visual concepts of some of the headier, crazier, trippier
yeah,
moments, you're gonna get a lot of that. You're gonna get some of that. There's plenty of moments where that is happening.
buildings are doing things. That are,
Yeah.
Should we just watch the trailer and then that'll be your impressions? Should we just watch the trailer?
Yeah,
trailer-
exactly. Have you seen the trailer? That's kind of how I feel about the movie.
but well,
Do you guys remember the first trailer after No Way Home? Because that trailer was a load of shit. I'll just say that. That was like the biggest misdirect I've ever seen in my life.
Oh,
the
see,
big-
that's a
the big-
spoiler, Jeff.
the big thing with this though is
Oh,
we
man.
have a different director with this one. It's Raimi.
Yeah.
Which I mean, he directed the original 3 Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
Sure,
movies. So I mean, that's a big deal, right?
That is a big deal. Yeah.
So it
movies are pretty good.
And he reunited with Danny Elfman, who did all the Spider-Man movies with
Yeah.
Raimi.
So there you go.
And his score was like, whatever.
I didn't know it was.
There are
any-
moments that were like distracting for me, like at the end, where like he started doing like some weird '80s things with electric guitars, and I was like,
In this
"Where's
movie,
this coming from?" Yeah.
Well, because like it's, I don't know. I can't go into that. But, I can't go into that.
It was
When you
so
just now
kind of
described that, it
weird.
almost
now
made me
that you
think
mentioned that, I was like, oh, I remember the guitar part, and I do have.
Yeah,
stuff
the
about
guitar
that.
kind of came out of nowhere. For
It almost made me think. What was that game we played last year with the cool guitar, music, visual stuff?
Jason Schwartzman gets a
Artful Escape.
Artful Escape.
Artful
Yeah.
Escape. There you go.
Like, I just thought of that when you said that. Like, kind of like all of a sudden out of nowhere, these electric guitars coming in, like crazy
Space
stuff.
whales
I just pictured.
It's
I
the
pictured
same.
Raimi,
Without
Raimi
spoiling, same
coming in.
vibes. Trippy stuff is going on, so trippy guitar music is playing.
Yeah.
So
There you go.
like that's
There you
that's
go.
kind of what's
It's
going on.
multiverse of madness. So crazy things are
Yeah,
happening.
Kyle, talk about your. You had a whole 24 hours. I had like an hour to think about it. So
Yeah. I've slept on it. I've kind of, I really like this movie, but when I think people's mileage are going to vary with this movie.
Okay.
I think this is probably going to be one of the more divisive Doctor Strange movie, MCU movies, that are out there. I think that just how much you're invested in certain characters are going to matter. Just how much you're invested in like some fan service is going to matter. If a lot of these things don't matter to you, this movie's probably not going to be great. So it's
Okay.
It's one of those things where, and yeah, I guess that there's certain expectations for how much further you want the story of the whole universe to be progressed. Some people want isolated stories, kind of how we were talking with Moon Knight. Other people want the whole universe to jump forward 10 or 15 steps. That's going to make, your acceptance of this movie vary. I'm very prepared for this movie to be super divisive, to be honest.
Sure.
For me, I really liked it a lot, especially after like, I walked out of the theater with 2 other people who they were immediately like, "That's my favorite Marvel movie ever," and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna sleep on it. But like,
Oh my god.
and
Bro.
I do, and Jeff, you're gonna hate this. I woke up this morning. I agree with them. It's one of my favorite movies of the MCU.
One of is that's fine. One of is fine.
That's fine.
Thinking about,
But the best.
we're in Phase 4, right, for Marvel?
Yeah.
Okay.
Phase-
So thinking
yeah.
about the Phase 4 films, which I know is tough because now the series that are coming out feel like longer movies. But anyway, thinking
Very much
about
so.
just the films, right? So we've had
Mm.
Black Widow technically is part of Phase 4, even though whatever.
Whatever is exactly right.
Shang-Chi, Eternals, and Spider-Man: No Way Home, right? Those are our
Yeah.
Phase 4 films so far. Am I missing any?
No, you're not. I'm sorry.
Okay.
That's right. Yeah.
So if you're thinking about those movies, is this one like? I would say it's fair to say a lot of folks have thought of so far in Phase 4, the movies wise, a little inconsistent. Not
Sure.
like not bad,
Right.
but inconsistent. Not really sure what Marvel.
Oh, Eternals, I guess would be the only one you forgot. Eternals.
I thought I said
I
Eternals.
thought you
Oh,
said
maybe
it.
you did. I'm sorry. I'm
No,
sorry.
it is. Yeah.
So it's a little bit inconsistent, a little bit uneven. They're telling separate stories, which makes sense, but it's
Mhm.
also kind of like, where are we going with this? It doesn't have. So anyway, all that to say, do you feel like this either helps with Marvel Phase 4, or do you feel like, hey, on its own, this is just far and away the best Phase 4 movie so far? Like, thinking of just the Phase 4 movies.
I feel like Phase 4 has a lot of spinning plates right now. Maybe
does.
too many.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Well,
That's what I feel
multiverse,
Like,
right? I
like,
mean-
can I just
Too
say,
much.
Phase
Yeah.
1, 2, and 3 was about the Infinity Stones and Thanos, and that's literally it. Like,
You're right.
other things were happening, but this is about like the multiverse. It's about soon. It's going to be about scrolls. With
Well-
Secret Invasion that's coming out. Like, it's
There's a main
soon-
villain, right, that they're focusing on, which is what was at the end of WandaVision,
I guess.
right? Maybe.
I mean, no, I mean,
Is
there's
that a
the
spoiler
main
to say
villain
that?
that we're the main
They alluded
villain
to
that
none of
we're.
that,
I
so
think.
well,
yeah,
I'm not saying who it is, but
the main villain that we're building towards is the one at the end of Loki. I think not. I don't remember
what I
that. being-
thought.
oh, sorry, not WandaVision.
I was
my
gonna say
bad.
I don't remember there being a
Loki,
major
yes.
He's
villain.
he's an Ant-Man, the villain. that
So
you're
yeah,
talking
we'll get the next chapter of him and Ant-Man, but like every
Okay.
time I think he's gonna show up, like even in like Moon Knight, and stuff like that,
Sure.
it's like he has comic implications.
I don't know who you're
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about. It's like the running joke now on certain YouTube videos where it's like, it could be this guy, and you're
Oh
like,
yeah, is it
oh,
Mephisto? Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Mephisto.
Dude, I
stuff.
really hope he shows up in his cowboy outfit from Harder They Fall. That's what I want to see.
I'm here for it. I hope Mephisto never shows up and we all just keep chasing this dream that he's going to show up one day.
Sorry, but I meant Loki. Yeah. The
Yeah,
guy-
no, I get what you meant. Yeah. But I don't know. Shang-Chi was really confident for a new movie. You know what I mean?
Was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally
He
new
felt
ideas.
really,
Yeah.
really confident.
I've heard
and
the
really-
opposite about Eternals, which I still haven't watched yet. That
Very-
is,
It's fine.
Yeah.
Eternals is fine.
It was
Shang-Chi
fine.
No.
is like
I've
very
heard that it's not-
stylistic, man.
but I've heard
Yeah,
it's not
that's-
confident. Like it doesn't
Oh
really.
yeah, they're-
It feels
Yeah.
like I've heard.
I would not describe Eternals as confident. You
That's
know
what I'm
I
saying.
mean?
I've heard that
Yeah.
they're almost like holding back. Like we're not sure this is gonna land, so we're not gonna really commit super. I don't know. Maybe that's an over.
There are things that happen in it that are important. I mean,
Well, and
Of course.
you have to, and like just to kind of because you're saying to kind of compare these movies or whatever.
Yeah.
Like Spider-Man, I was not surprised by the things that we saw in that movie because everything
Okay.
was leaked and everybody had fan theories and like it all just kind of came
Yeah,
true
yeah.
and we all just kind of like that happened. Doesn't remove the excitement of that movie at all. Just because you kind of knew what was going to happen, you still really didn't fully know. So when it happened, you were like, ugh.
yeah.
This movie, like things happen in this movie that I just didn't think were gonna happen. You know what I mean? Like in
Okay,
terms
yeah.
of like
That's
stuff
exciting.
that is going on, and so I feel like I was a little more surprised with stuff in this movie, especially
good.
with like things that show because we're talking about the multiverse. So like just think, the possibilities are endless. So it's
Right,
like.
right.
It was hard to nail in on like who was going to show up, what was going to happen, stuff like that, and I think that my breath was a little more taken away on that front with this movie, but I don't know if I'm ready to say this movie is better than No Way Home. You know what I mean? Like
Fair
I
enough.
Sure.
it's like, I
The
feel
fact
like
that
Yeah,
you're
that
even
was-
comparing them says a lot, though. Because No Way Home is
for
amazing.
me, yeah. Again, I really think the mileage is going to vary on this movie for people. Because a lot of people didn't really like Doctor Strange. It's not everybody's like favorite, movie. It was very origin-y.
I think he's great, dude. I think he's fantastic.
I don't think there's
No,
anything
the
wrong with
first
him.
movie he's talking about.
Yeah, the first
No,
movie.
right. Well, sure,
Yeah.
but I mean, him as a character.
In general, I don't think Cumberbatch. Yeah, I don't think anybody denies that Cumberbatch is like bad for this role, and he's
Yeah.
perfect. And I think that he gets a lot of like fandom in like Infinity War and kind of the sacrifice
Sure,
he makes in
sure,
that
sure.
movie and stuff like that. I think that he gets kind of a popularity boost because of that. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think that I'm interested for more people to watch this movie and more people to see it to kind of get like a more collective
Yeah,
thought.
for real,
Because-
dude. I don't know where people are gonna. It's
I
even
really
now,
don't.
and I know quite a few people that have already seen it. Even now, the mileage is like you're saying. It's
All over the
totally
place.
varying. It's all over.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
very
I-
Even
interesting.
for me and you, like even for
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
Like,
I've
Mhm.
seen people on more polar opposite ends, and like you and I kind of fall on. But like
Yeah.
like I've seen people on my Facebook who are just like, I hated that movie. And I'm like, all right. And I've seen other
I'm
people
so
like, that's
curious. What is it like? It's like, is it the tone of the movie? Is it the performance? Like, I'm
There's
wondering what.
N-
Like,
not
this-
the performance. I don't
No,
think
the-
anybody's
nothing about the
complaining about performances. Yeah, I think
I
so
think
it's not that.
because I felt this a little bit in the movie. I think there's some styles clash
Okay.
between what MCU normally does and Raimi, because Raimi injects
Sure.
a lot of what he does in
Yeah.
like Drag Me to Hell type stuff and Evil
Yeah.
Dead. he injects some of that in this movie.
Okay.
It might feel out of place entirely for some people. For me, it was like out of place in spots. So like I was like,
Okay.
What is that doing in this movie? But for the most part, I enjoyed it. Like, I mean, I wasn't like, I still liked the movie, just not as much as Kyle did.
Well, again, like,
and that stuff was never out of place for me, but I was
okay.
Every single time I go, that's a Raimi moment, you know?
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
that is enough to rip people out of it. If I'm going, that's a Raimi moment, other people are gonna go, what the hell was that? You know?
Yeah.
Well, it's like
I don't disagree with what Jeff is saying at all. And in fact, I'm trying to reinforce that because I feel like there are moments in there that I think people are gonna be like, what was that about? You know?
Yeah.
And if you've never seen a Sam Raimi movie, I had a dad explain to his son what Evil Dead was. Like behind me.
Yeah.
Like, well,
You
son,
have to.
when
There's
I was
some
growing
Evil
up, there was
Dead-ass
Evil Dead.
moments
This movie might just be I don't want to get into it. Yeah, Evil Dead is the major inspiration of this movie, I will say.
He made those first 3 Spider-Man movies, and they have a distinct style to them. There's like a underlying goofiness to them that the other 2 Spider-Man, Andrew and Tom's Spider-Man movies don't have. They just don't have that really.
Yeah.
So he has a distinct style for sure.
By styles clash, because the MCU or style clash. Styles clash is a wrestling move, whatever. Anyway, style clash. The MCU has a very distinct type of. When you think of an MCU movie, you think of like a distinct type of way of filmmaking.
Sure.
Where they just kind of throw colors and noise at you, and it's entertaining and you love it, and there's some great emotional beats and stuff. But they just kind of throw things at you. And
see, when I think of Multiverse
Raimi,
of Madness, it makes sense that there's going to be goofiness, no? Because I'm thinking of all these different universes.
I'm not talking about that, but yeah.
But right, but I'm saying like if you're thinking of multiverse, you're thinking all these different universes just all meshing together, intertwining. Like you're gonna, I don't know. In my head, I go to like, things are gonna get wacky and weird, and
it gives you a little more leeway to do that stuff, right?
Yeah, so that makes sense.
Kind of, but there's still gonna be, even considering that and considering how Loki was kind of out there and how Moon Knight was kind of out there, even considering all that, this is still even further out there. Even so like further? If people didn't watch those shows, even WandaVision, if they didn't watch those shows,
if you didn't watch WandaVision, you're not going to know what's going on.
Not even for story reasons. If you didn't watch those on a style level, on a stylistic or visual level, you're going to be like, what the hell? You're going to be even caught more off guard by this movie.
This is the zaniest,
there's people in the theater
just like the MCU has ever gotten, for sure. And not like, and again, like I'm with kind of what you're saying, Dan, where it's like, well, yeah, maybe the zaniness kind of like is complementary to the multiverse or whatever. Yeah. But I'm also saying what Jeff is saying too, where it's like it's a style clash for sure, but like. It's just gonna land different with different people, I think.
Exactly. Yeah, it exists.
And I think the more exposure you've had to the TV shows, the more of stepping stones that you've taken of tolerance to like accept it. You know?
Yeah, if I skipped those shows, dude, I would have been like, this is not an MCU movie. I would have been like so mad or whatever. Like
Loki is like, think Loki when you kind of go into this, because Loki is very weird and zany, and like they're always trying to crack a joke at inappropriate moments.
Kind of, that show too. I love shows like that in Moon Knight, where like they have a clear color palette. And they're like, that's in their cinematography throughout the entire thing.
Yeah, we'll talk about that with Moon Knight. Yeah.
Doctor Strange is just like, from the beginning, it's like kind of noise. And that's, some of it's really pretty noise, but there's a lot of like, there's like no thought in terms of like color. And the MCU movies kind of do this a lot, where there's no real thought in the color schemes up until there's a certain moment in the third act that happens that I already told Kyle is my favorite part of the movie, where like it's very clearly a thought out color scheme and like, colors are clashing in certain ways, and I was like, dude, this is freaking awesome. Like,
that's cool.
It really, like,
there's some really inventive
really high,
moments,
like high highs in this movie.
That's great.
Sure.
High concept ideas for sure, and it's a multiverse story.
It was interesting that this is a spoiler. It's Multiverse of Madness, but I didn't really see a lot of multiverses explored. Is that a spoiler or?
Well, they're not going to have time to explore,
I'm not telling you what they are.
Right? You know,
of course, they're not going to have time to go through like 80 of them or whatever. But when I think Everything Everywhere All at Once spoiled a lot of people, including me, because they explored
See, and since I didn't see that movie, this movie felt like Multiverse. I was like, boy, we're jumping around way more than I thought we were. I thought we would go to one alternate universe, maybe. Like they'll have a trip moment where you see in the trailer where they'll fall through 1,000 of them.
Yeah.
But then they'll land in one and just stay
part,
there.
Yeah.
You know, it's amazing. Yeah, that part's awesome. But because like whatever you see in the trailer, it's 20 times that length. You know, it's so long. I was actually checking my watch. I was like, they're still falling. Like this is crazy.
You know, when we talk about multiverses,
people pausing the frames and
so
can we start to include Ratchet and Clank in the multiverse conversation? You guys are killing me with this. Okay, Ratchet and Clank deserves a spot. And I'm just
kidding. The way that Ratchet falls in that game is that happens in this movie. You know, but I haven't seen Everything Everywhere All at Once, so I don't have that comparison. So like again, maybe there's some like cinema baggage you're bringing in because of that movie did it really really well. You know,
and it's like the same concept kind of.
Again, like this felt like almost overwhelming to me, where I'm just like, okay, where are we at now? Like, you know,
Kyle felt like he was falling. He's
I'm with them.
Jeff always has cinema baggage. Jeff has cinema baggage everywhere he goes. He's always got.
I mean, that's true. I do see way too much crap. Also, in multiverse, you kind of have to similar to. There's another movie that does this, which is also a good movie that I'm thinking of, but I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, X-Men: Days of Future Past does this. I actually kind of enjoyed that movie, but
no, that's a good.
Really dumb.
I like it.
But like, there are things that happen where like when you're in another multiverse and something else is happening, when you're in another universe, I guess I should say, and something else is happening in a universe away from you, and you're trying to stop that from happening, shouldn't time function differently? I don't know why you're in the same linear timeline. I don't know how that's happening. So it's kind of like Days of Future Past, where like Days of Future Past, they would kind of be like, we're trying to stop a threat in the past. But if you stopped it, as soon as you sent Wolverine back to the past, the movie should have ended. Like, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, it should have ended.
That's time travel, baby. The second you go, we want to tell a time travel story. Things just get like.
I mean, the bottom line is there are no actual official rules.
So you have to be like, it's a movie.
There's no official rules because we don't know if time travel actually exists. We just all have different ideas.
It in the biggest movie of all time, Endgame, which I think the whole story of that movie is great. But like when you start trying to really think about like how the time travel works in that movie, you're like, wait, no, none of this makes sense. And even the director and the writers don't agree on what's going on. They're telling different stories in interviews because they don't agree. But again, so it's like
that's why I think that time travel people get so hung up on like the rules. They do. It's like the bottom line is we can all make up whatever rules we want because as far as we know, none of this exists.
It's more harder to swallow the pill when they establish rules that they break like a scene later.
Sure.
And I think where Doctor Strange ends up safe, and I'm going to convince myself out of this criticism, I guess, is how Loki kind of cleaned up a lot of that timeline stuff by saying, oh, well, they exist in separate timelines, or / they exist in, like in this movie, they exist in different universes. So, I mean, you can just kind of use that to clean up a lot of explaining. Just be like, don't worry about that.
It's a nice thing to lean on in terms of like simplifying all that.
Guys, my favorite time travel story is probably About Time with Domhnall Gleeson.
That's actually a good movie.
I haven't seen it.
I
like
really
Domhnall Gleeson. Yeah,
it's a really good movie.
Rachel McAdams is that movie.
Rachel McAdams.
The Rachel McAdams podcast.
Very cute.
She is
seriously About Time
beautiful,
is a good movie. And it's good, it's a good romantic comedy too to watch with the lady friend if you or alone. It works well as a lady friend.
Yeah, I watched it alone. It was good. Damn it, there was something else I wanted to say. Damn it to hell, Tim. It's your fault.
It's all right.
Thinking about Rachel McAdams now.
And Moon Knight? No.
Well, I guess just to wrap it up, I'm just really interested for more people to see it. You know, I think that like it's going to be a movie that a lot of people talk about, and I think that a lot of people's opinions will like peak and valley as you talk about it with people. You're like, oh yeah, you're right about that. Well, you know, I don't know. I think I think it's going to be a journey, like talking about this movie.
Yeah.
Listen, it's
I
hard
love that my favorite part about Doctor Strange's entire existence is that I know when I go into a Doctor Strange movie, it's going to be a non-traditional comic book experience where the villain or whoever he's fighting is not going to be fought in a way that you normally would see in the MCU.
They're not going to be kicky punching their way.
Exactly.
Exactly. He's just going to keep coming back and what was it,
Dormammu
or whatever it was.
Super
creative magic stuff.
There's so much. There's so much magic, and oh my god! Like, and I know that's like silly to say about a Doctor Strange movie, but there's so many different types of magic going on. And,
Sure.
It's.
And also,
no one's gonna walk out of this movie going like, "Wow, visually that movie was boring." You know,
No,
even
there's
if
nothing
you
boring
hate
about it.
everything that's going on, you're going to be like, boy, there were some real huge visual moments in that movie that I really
Yeah.
enjoyed, but the story was garbage or whatever. You know, I think
I
again,
also have to commend them for making the multiverse concept comic booky AF, because like Kyle kind of alluded to, there's like this whole question of like, who's going to show up? Because it's the multiverse, you can kind of just go whatever.
whatever the hell, you know,
Right,
do whatever
And
the hell you want.
They
You know?
take the most comic booky approach possible, where like comic books will have people just show up and then they never show up again in the comic book art, because like that's the multiverse, baby. You know, they just kind of come in and go out, and yeah, that's that's some good moments right there.
I'm telling you, there's going to be one moment, particularly in the movie, that everyone's going to be talking about forever.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Forever. Yeah, like just.
Ooh, that's a good teaser. I like that. I like that.
And Moon Knight.
Yeah,
Yeah, you guys-
I think say no more. Yeah,
You guys did a good job of dancing around any specifics. I don't feel
Yeah.
like you spoiled anything for me, but I do have a
Good.
better sense of what to
And they
expect.
should have
so.
called it Doctor Strange Dreamwalker, but that's just my opinion. You'll see why.
Or Doctor Strange.
I still like
mom.
mom. I still like mom. Yeah.
Doctor Strange and the Mom.
So if you
In the
do
Mom,
if you do Multiverse of Madness and just shorten that to Mom, now it's Doctor Strange and the Mom.
In
That's
the
just
Mom.
not gonna fly. I don't think.
In the mom.
But
I wonder-
weirdly,
I wonder if-
kind of fits the movie. So.
Weirdly, yeah. When you see it, you're like, actually, yeah.
Now I'm concerned. If there's any like old theaters that have like a limited space marquee, they
Right.
might have had to do that. You know,
They're
might
like
have had to-
Strange Mom or whatever.
They'll just say
All right. Well,
Strange.
I
and
know
the
what to
Mom.
do. I know what to do for a thumbnail now. So you know.
Oh gosh, I'm nervous.